Hello everyone! The upcoming expansion Legion will introduce a brand new hero class into the game, namely Demon Hunters, which hopefully will be quite handy to have around when we're going to fight against the Legion. A lot of you came up to me with questions like, what's the history of the Demon Hunters, how do they gain their skill and powers, and what might the backstory be for the Demon Hunters that we're going to play? That's something I want to talk about in this video, so ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, and I hope you'll enjoy. The first of the Demon Hunters is of course Illidan Stormrage. Now I've done a full video on him, but we can't really talk about the Demon Hunters without talking about the original one. Illidan didn't start out with those beautiful demonic wings, the horns on his head, the eyes burned out. At first, Illidan was a Night Elf mage thirsty for power and recognition. During the War of the Ancients, he did his best to assist the Night Elf resistance against the Legion, eventually coming up with a plan to act as a double agent. He forced a fell beast to act as his mount as he rode up to the palace like a boss, offering his service to the Queen and the Lord of the Legion. In truth, Illidan actually wanted to prevent the Queen's plans, but he wanted to do it from the inside. His talents, his magical abilities, allowed him to shield his real thoughts from even one such as Sargeras, and in the palace, he assisted Manoroth and the others by empowering the portal that they'd created to summon Sargeras. Not even Illidan was strong enough on his own to bring Sargeras into the world though, but he did come with a plan. With the use of a black dragon scale belonging to Deathwing, he would able to track down the mighty aspect and steal the powerful artifact known as the Demon Soul. This artifact would be all the power they needed to make the portal work, to get Sargeras to cleanse the world, and Sargeras agreed to the plan. This is taken from the novels, where Illidan is at the portal, he offers his plans to Sargeras, and Sargeras accepts. Sargeras seemed to chuckle. Such loyalty deserves a mark of favor, a mark that will at the same time aid in the fulfillment of your quest, Night Elf. Illidan looked up. For the first time, the barest hint of uncertainty graced his narrow features. My lord Sargeras, your crossing to Azeroth will be favored enough, and I need no other aid in my... But I insist. And from out of the portal shot forth twin tentacles of dark green flame. Manoroth immediately shielded his eyes. Illidan, the focus of Sargeras' spellwork, had no such opportunity. Not that it would have done him any good to do so. The flames poured into his eyes. The soft tissue was seared instantly. Illidan's scream echoed throughout the chamber and likely well beyond the palace walls. All trace of arrogance had left his expression. There was only agony, pure and unadulterated. The flames intensified, arms spread wide. Illidan was dragged up above the floor. He arced backward, nearly breaking in two. Supernatural fire continued to pour into his blackened sockets, even after the last bit of the ice had long burned away. Your eyes are now my eyes, Night Elf. They're gifts to serve me as well as you. His own amber eyes were lost, but Illidan's new eyes did come with certain perks. At first, swirling energies and constantly shifting colors assaulted his senses, but after focusing, Illidan found out that he could see more clearly than ever before. He could even sense the level of power someone possessed, like for example Queen Azara. She was extremely powerful and nearly hypnotic. Illidan could see her spellwork nearly taking him over, and on top of that, not only his eyes were burned out, tattoos now also covered his body. Sargeras had truly marked him as one of his own, and the markings amplified his abilities. In the end though, at the end of the story, Illidan's plans of deceiving the Legion they failed because of the old gods, and he was imprisoned by his fellow Night Elves. 10,000 years later, during Warcraft 3, they let him out of prison because the Legion had returned to take another bite out of Azeroth, and someone like Illidan, someone who knew how the enemy worked, how they fought, how they planned, he was a great ally to have. His twin brother Malfurion, he didn't agree though. He didn't agree with the choice of releasing Illidan. So Illidan left Malfurion and Tyrande to do their own thing. He came across the Death Knight Arthas, who told him about the Skull of Gul'dan, and he decided to absorb the skull.
Now at least the demons will no longer corrupt the forests. But if I destroy the skull and claim its powers as my own, I will become stronger than any of Archimonde's lieutenants. Yes, the power should be mine.
Now I am complete.
After drinking from the skull, his powers increased, but Illidan's body transformed even further. He now looked like a demon himself, he had horns on his head, he had the bat-like wings, but he did save the forest. When Malfurion and Tyrande finally found Illidan, they didn't even recognize him at first, so much had he changed, but when they did, when they realized what Illidan had done, they decided to banish him from their lands. The events of Warcraft 3 transpired, Illidan failed in his mission given by Kil'jaeden to destroy the Lich King, and he decided to take over Outlands, where we would eventually meet him again during the Burning Crusade. Illidan had teamed up with the Blood Elf Prince Kil'jaeden Sunstrider, and he begun training both Night Elf and Blood Elves in the ways of the Demon Hunter. Now naturally, they didn't have a Sargeras around to burn out their eyes, to give them a nice set of tattoos, so instead they had to go through a series of complex rituals. The next information is taken from the World of Warcraft RPG books, and the RPG books have been declared to be non-canon, so it's not officially part of the lore. Bits and pieces of the RPGs have made their way into the official lore, and this bit from the RPG books, it seems very similar to what we've seen so far, and it gives a very good explanation as to how those that followed in his footsteps gained a similar appearance. The book says the following. To become a demon hunter, a hero must find a demon hunter who's willing to lead them through a series of complex rituals. These rituals involve capturing a demon and sacrificing it in order to bind a portion of its spirits inside the hero. As part of the ceremony to become a demon hunter, the initiate burns out his or her eyes with a magic blade to entrap a demonic essence within their body. Most demon hunters then bind their mutilated eyes with strips of cloth, very similar to how Illidan did it. Now in return for this sacrifice, the demon hunter gains the ability to see the world without vision. Creatures are visible as dimly glowing forms against a grey and murky background. Demonic energy blazes like burning pitch in the night. The demon hunter sees it and recognizes it easily. This does seem very similar to the demon hunters that we're going to play as, since they'll have an ability called spectral sight. The demon hunter's apparent blindness belies the true power of perception. They rely on magically augmented sight to detect enemies, even those that hide behind obstacles. This is taken from the demon hunter description on the Legion website, so this has made it in so far. Now the RPG continues because there's more information. Demon hunters have a variety of abilities that assist them in destroying demons, though the power coursing through their bodies also allows them to prevail over lesser foes. Demon hunters eschew heavy armor, valuing mobility and speed. As a demon hunter grows in power, they undergo a gradual evolution, becoming more and more demonic in appearance. The changes are cosmetic and can take many different forms, from burning eyes to black blood. By the time the demon hunter reaches the pinnacle of his development, he is a twisted and dark version of his former self. Though the chaotic energies in his body, it does not affect his personality and allegiance. Or so the demon hunters claim. The demon hunter's gradual evolution achieves its pinnacle as they become a demonic entity. Their appearance has changed to something frightening. The exact changes vary, but can include glowing red eyes, horns, clawed feet and hands, non-functioning wings, cloven hoofs, a spiked tail, dark skin, a deep rumbling voice, and similar cosmetic changes. Now all of this information from the RPG, it seems to line up with what we've seen in the previews, it seems to line up with the screenshots that they've given about the demon hunters, so maybe, possibly the information from the RPG will make it into the official lore. Now becoming a demon hunter on its own, like we have these rituals, we have these transformations that they go through, but the whole training is not easy at all. During the Burning Crusade, we met with a night elf demon hunter, Altrius, and he had deflected from Illidan, since he saw that Illidan had become the very thing that they were fighting against. He tells us about the demon hunter training grounds at the ruins of Karabor, he tells about the history of the Blood Elves joining them. This is what he says. As a reward for his years of service, Illidan allowed Kil'jaeden to send him 5 warriors to train under him. It would be the first time Blood Elves would be allowed to train as demon hunters. The training was brutal. Illidan put Kil's warriors through trials to defeat most fully capable demon hunters. 3 of Kil's elves simply died in training, another one went mad, and there was one who succeeded. The one Blood Elf that went mad during training, he would later show up as a boss within Serpentine Caverns, known as Leofras the Blind. During his fight, we can see him struggle with keeping control over his demon inside, so it seems like that information from the RPG, the binding of a demonic spirit inside the demon hunter, it seems like that bit made it into the overall story as well. The one blood elf that succeeded where all others failed was called Varadis, and he had such a gift, such a talent for the craft, that Illidan assigned 3 master demon hunters to train this blood elf further. Within a year, Varadis had surpassed them all, had surpassed his own teachers, and he was as thirsty for power as Illidan himself. He came up with a plan to find the Book of Fell Names, which is a tome said to contain the name of every demon in existence. Knowing a demon's true name gives a certain amount of power over that demon, so Varadis made sure to memorize the pages in the book, and with all of his power, he was placed in the task of training more demon hunters. As we follow the questline with Altreus, he sends on the task of collecting the Book of Fell Names, since without it, we simply wouldn't stand a chance against Varadis. His teachers, Aladdin, Ferras, and Nefarai, sorry if I butchered those names, all of those teachers, they fall down to our might, until finally we face off against Varadis. We're told to rip the pages out of the Book of Fell Names, since this will weaken Varadis as he's doing his metamorphosis thing, and we take out the prodigy students. So those are the demon hunters that we encounter on Outland taken care of, but there are 3 more demon hunters, all of them night elves, that we can find in the game. First, there's Lormis Phalapides, which you can find within the Blasted Lands. He was part of a quest chain during Classic, in which we were sent out to take out the Dreadlord Razalik, but Razalik survived that encounter to make a return in the Cataclysm. Lormis went out on his own to hunt the demon once again, but this time he was slain by the ogre Grol the Destroyed, who literally ripped his body into pieces. Adventurers were sent out to claim the body parts of Lormis. We put them back together with the help of the Altar of Storms, and together with the demon hunter, they faced off once more against the demon. With the knowledge of his true name, Lormis has power over the demon, but Razalik, or Raklik as his true name really is, he does not go down without a fight, and he enters Lormis' body. This is the moment that we've been waiting for, the moment that we planned for, and with the stone knife of sealing, we slay Lormis and Raklik at the same time. We might see Lormis in the future again though, since as we slay him, he says, "Leave me here then, while I'll wrestle with Raklik in the next world. Your job here is done, heroes." So who knows, he might show up in the next expansion, he might be around in the Twisting Nether. The second demon hunter was one added during the Cataclysm, Feronas Sindweller, who at first seems to be a bad guy, but he turns out not to be such a bad guy at all. He's in the area killing druids, but sometimes our eyes can be deceived. These druids are actually demons in disguise, as Feronas shows us, while he also tries to show us a different side to Illidan's story. He shows the events of when Illidan picked up the Skull of Gul'dan, sacrificed so much to do what had to be done. He was able to cleanse the lands of demonic influences, and what did he get in return? He was banished.
So be it, brother.
After opening up our eyes to the truth, after showing us the other side of Illidan's storyline, Feronas has his task for us. He wants us to take out the leader of the Emerald Circle, Archdruid Navarax, who's actually just another demon disguising himself. After taking care of the Archdruid, Feronas, he disappears after these events. He's probably taking care of a lot more demons in the area, but there's one more demon hunter to talk about, and this one you can find in Darkshore. Buried beneath the Maw of the Void, the spirit of Tellarius Voidstrider, herald of the Dark Embrace, awaits. This demon hunter is actually a spirit who's been killed by Maiev many years ago, but he holds an interesting item called Writings of the Dark Herald. The scrolls are vague and appear to be a piece of a much larger puzzle, but if you're not mistaken, they seem to reveal some of the steps on the path to becoming a demon hunter. The dark oaths and rituals necessary for becoming a demon hunter, they're frowned on by most of the night elves, so this is likely something they would be very interested in keeping quiet. We need to turn in these scrolls to finish the quest, but it's interesting to see that scrolls describing how exactly to become a demon hunter, that they can be found within the world, since we know for certain that the blood elf demon hunters, they were trained by Illidan during his time on Outland. Yet the night elf demon hunters, they are up for speculation. The RPG states, a group of night elves, inspired by Illidan's example, made a pact to turn the Burning Legion's powers against it, fighting destruction with destruction. Obviously, they could not gain their powers in the same way Illidan did, but they discovered other means. In the millennia since, other night elves and a few creatures of other races, they've made the same pact, binding demonic essence in their bodies and using it to destroy the Legion's minions. Considering that it's said with the scrolls that certain Night Elves frown upon how to become a demon hunter. It's possible that some Night Elves, they did not follow Illidan's teachings immediately. They found their own path towards becoming demon hunters. I couldn't find a solid example though of a demon hunter that did this. The Night Elf demon hunters that we see on Azeroth, the Night Elf demon hunters that I just talked about, they could have trained themselves, they could have found their own path in the way of the demon hunter, or they could have simply been sent back by Illidan, or they could have made their own way back from Outlands after being trained by Illidan. That's up for grabs, that's up for speculation. I couldn't find any solid source claiming that Illidan trained these specific Night Elves, but then again, I also couldn't find a source where they found their own path, so that's up for speculation. Now what about the future? What can we expect for demon hunters that we are going to play as? Well, part of the story has been revealed, while a lot of it, obviously, is still being kept in the dark. The background to the demon hunters that we're going to play as is that these demon hunters were part of Illidan's troops, the Illidari, who were imprisoned by Maiev after the fall of Illidan. She placed the demon hunters within the vault of the Wardens, but in the next expansion, in Legion, the Burning Legion is making a return, and the Wardens believe they will need the aid of the demon hunters to fight back against the Legion. We're going to use the powers and the knowledge of the enemy against them. So the Wardens, they open the cells, they release the demon hunters, and they get to be part of our society. Before that moment though, before the prison doors open up, you'll start your story set around 10 years before Legion, with a super secret mission given by Illidan before he was taken out. Illidan decides to send his elite team on a so-called suicide mission to a different planet called Mardun. I probably pronounced that one wrong, my apologies. Now, this world was used by Sargeras way back when to imprison the evil of the universe, but when he turned to the dark side, when he turned against the mission of the Titans, he returned to the planet to release the evil that he had imprisoned and form the Burning Legion. For some reason, Illidan thought that it was critical to go on this mission instead of helping him defend his seat of command in Outlands, and we can only guess what exactly is going to happen there. They did say that when all is said and done, players will understand what it means to be a demon hunter and the true meaning of sacrifice. My personal hope for the storyline is that we'll be given a reason for Illidan's so-called madness during the Burning Crusade. Back then, the lore wasn't the best, and they turned Illidan from this anti-hero who tried to do good but just failed time and time again into this crazy ass bad guy. I would love to see a bit of story development explaining what exactly happened here, but only time will tell what kind of story we're going to get. We'll also get a new novel surrounding Illidan, so I'm very excited about that. Maybe we'll even get a proper storyline to the Twin Blades of Azeroth, since all we know right now is that Illidan, he obtained the Twin Blades somehow from a demon called Azeroth, but we don't know the details as to when did this happen, what was the battle like, why were these blades so legendary, why did they let him keep his weapons even though he was imprisoned. All that good stuff. I'm really hoping that we'll get more details. We'll still have to wait a little bit for all of that to be revealed. It's going to be 2016 for all of that to hit. But hey, the 2015 flew by. I'm sure it will be in 2016 before we know it. As I was editing this video, I came up with a crazy little theory as to what might happen in the next expansion with the whole Illidan storyline. I posted this on Facebook and Twitter. A lot of people seem to like it, so I figured it might be fun to talk about it here. Now keep in mind, this is just a theory. It's not set in stone, it's just my mind trying to fill in the blanks. It doesn't have to happen this way, it's just fun to speculate. Now what we know from during the Burning Crusade time was that the main reasons why we went after Illidan, why he was the end boss, it was because Illidan had enslaved Akama's soul and Akama wasn't happy with Illidan as being his master. He attacked Adal in Shafreth City. And then there's the statement that Illidan simply went mad after his fight with Arthas. Now considering Illidan's history, considering how he was betrayed by Akama, how he was betrayed by Kil'Thas, it's not so crazy to try and place fail-safe methods to keep your minions loyal. It's not so crazy to actually enslave Akama's soul to make sure that he doesn't try to betray you. The rest of the information, the rest of the reasons, well maybe Illidan wasn't so crazy as everyone said that he was. And maybe he never gave the order to attack Adal in the first place. Remember that Illidan was terrified of Kil'jaeden and the Legion. That's the whole reason why they moved to Outland and they tried to hide there. The Naru, they are agents against the Legion, hell-bent on seeing the Burning Legion destroyed. So attacking them doesn't make sense. Instead, what happened was that Kil'Thuzad allied himself with Kil'jaeden. They knew what Illidan was trying to do. He had found out about two massive heroes of the light, two heroes that would be great allies against the Burning Legion. He had found out about Illyria and Turellian. Their son, Arator the Redeemer, had been looking for his parents in the Burning Crusade. He had talked to the innkeeper. It's not hard to imagine that word travels, or perhaps Arator met with Illidan. Either way, he had found out about these two heroes that were lost, so he decided to start looking for these heroes. Like I said, they would make perfect allies against the Burning Legion, maybe be a great way to make contact with Adal and the Naru, since whole Khadgar and the Alliance of Lordaeron was already working with them. So Illidan decided, in his own way, to help Arafor by sending his team of demon hunters on a secret mission to find Illyria and Turellian. Kil'Thuzad and Kil'jaeden found out about Illidan's plans. They made sure that the world looked at Illidan as being the bad guy. So Kil'Thuzad, he sent the order to attack Adal, and Illidan had nothing to do with that. The demon hunters, they tried to convince Illyria and Turellian to return from their mission on the planet of Mardun, where they've been fighting against the Legion. But before they can make a return, before they can, fulfill these plans, Kil'jaeden himself shows up. He uses his powers to send Illyria and Turellian through the Twisted Nether, forcing them to shift back and forth between realities and dimensions. This is the reason why we got the Arrowhead questline from the Inn in Warlords of Draenor. This is the reason why a piece of Illyria popped up on alternate Draenor. All this time they've been searching for a way home to our reality, and they traveled past alternate Draenor. The demon hunters that tried to convince them, they escaped Kil'jaeden's wrath. They returned back home only to find the world to be flipped upside down. Maiev had broken out of prison, Illidan was betrayed by everyone around him, so-called heroes had taken him out, and Maiev had imprisoned his body and spirit. The demon hunters had failed their master and the mission. They too were imprisoned until 10 years later, Illyria and Turellian finally find their way back to our reality, and now they're ready to ally with the demon hunters and explain Illidan's actions during the Burning Crusade. They would be great agents to explain to the world that Illidan wasn't all that bad. This could be a great gateway to get us working together with these demon hunters, which are supposed to be bad, and a great gateway to help us work together with Illidan. But hey, like I said, that's just a theory. Ladies and gentlemen, this does bring me to the end of the video, so thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope I was able to give you a little bit of information regarding what we currently know about the Demon Hunters and what we might expect in Legion. On screen, I've linked two videos very much related to the subject. One of them is the story of Illidan Stormrage, and the other is the story of Maiev Shadowsong. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Subscribe if you like my videos, give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and until next time, guys. See ya!
For we stand once more upon the brink of destruction. The Burning Legion.